We can take a little walk across through the yard down here and look. There's not much to see of that old mill, but I can still remember when the railroad was out in here. It was a narrow gauge, 3-foot railroad type, and they had turntables so they turned the cars around. In fact, I had a car run over out here and broke my leg when I was a little kid, but that was all right. But if you want, we can walk across the yard here and look at whatever you want to look at. But they did have a little jail, and I heard only one person was ever locked in it. I think you can talk to the ranger there, and he can tell you who it was.
I haven't heard that story yet.
So go out of place.
There was crime here? Used to be a long time ago?
Yeah.
I think it was only a drunk horse riding kind of thing. And, well, we can walk back over here and look where the Oasis is, or whatever. That was a good bar. Boy, if anybody ever drank, it was Joan's mother ran that for years, her dad. But that was the best place on the whole coast. Everybody came from San Francisco to Eureka to come and drink in the Oasis. Good bar. I know none of you people can drink. Some of us do. Let me walk back up here. Is that where Pete Backup had his barber shop? They had the barber, his name was Pete Reversey. We used to call him Pete Backup. You know?
Yeah.
Barber Pete. Yeah, Barber Pete. So, and now that's what saloon was that? That was Redwater Bill's, his building, other building.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Vanetti.
Vanetti. That was another
Jonah there.
Jonah. Yeah, Jonah. We used to have a lot of old characters in this town, I'll tell you. In fact, there's one of them right there. No.
You used to have young characters in this town.
And Matson's there was a bridge there at the cemetery. My father told me one time he was coming back from Comshie to a dance, and they missed the bridge there by the cemetery and just drove down that gulch. I think that was because he was tired from the dance.
Couldn't be any other reason.
No.
So what kind of social events do you guys remember around here? Were there dances in town?
Dances forever.
At the Oasis,
Yeah.
St. Patrick's Day?
St. Patrick's dance. We used to go to them, and when the hotel was still here too, you'd go to have a party at the hotel, with lots of people, and go to the dance at the Oasis, stay there till 3 o'clock in the morning, and then go back to somebody's house for the rest of the night until 6 or 7, and find somebody who's going to cook breakfast someplace, and then you'd probably go back to the Oasis again. And by that time the band had left, though they got out of town where they found out they were going to.
Any stories about the old hospital house?
I probably shouldn't repeat it. Roy probably knows a few.
The old hospital was manned by a doctor named Dr. Sweet.
Dr.
And
Sweet.
right across the road over here was a lady living in a tenement house called Elta Sour. So we had sweet and sour.
Oh.
See, I knew we could get help on this. And they used to have old wooden bridges across here, and then the town built some new ones, and they fell down. They washed out one winter, I think. But that Methodist church was built in 1906. If anybody would like to go in, don't get run over, because I forgot to bring a stop sign with me. They told me to bring that. And Bobby Beacon's going to be in there playing the organ. It's the only place you can play your... No. It can be legal.
Well, if you're going to cross, I say we cross now.
Yeah, it's a good place to cross. Remember, we used to shoot our garbage off the bluff there, go right into the ocean, and that was the best Abalonian on the whole coast. Only you had to watch it. Somebody might drop a bottle on your head. But there's another house back here I used to live in. My kids used to climb on the fence, and one foot's in the ocean and one foot's up here. And it's about 200 feet.
What about this house?
I love to talk to people, and so that's mainly what I do is, and then somebody will say, John, shut up for a while. And so that's about, and I love talking. And I'll stop people on the road out. When we do open our visitor center here, if it's slow, I'll go out there in the street and try to get people to come in just because I want to talk to somebody, and I've got to talk to somebody. And like that, when I work, and I was in the logging industry for years, over 50 years with one company, 45 years I guess it is, that they told me that we'd get more done here if you wouldn't talk so much. Did different things. I remember one day, my boss, Daniels, he said to me, he said, "John, how would you like a little raise?" And I said, "Well, that'd be great." He says, "I'll give you another 10 cents an hour." And I said, "Boy, 10 cents an hour, that's what, 80 cents a day. And that's for another $4 or $5 a week. I could really make it good." And so they run this railroad 25 miles up Elk Creek, and they had 3 or 4 different camps up there. So and I don't know how true this is, but they said there was one lady lived halfway up there to the big camp, Camp 11, and it was on a pretty good grade going in, but the locomotives could make it with a load of empties going up it. So one day she decided, well, since they were going by her house every day, she wanted a little pay because it was bothering her cow. And I don't know how true this is, or if it's just somebody made up this story, but they said she got out there and buttered the tracks, so that when the locomotive would go, it'd start spinning like they do, and everybody, I've seen them pictures out of locomotives, they spin their wheels, and they can't go any place. So she did that, and so they'd have to use their sand, and they'd finally get the train to the camp. But she did that for about a week, they claim. I don't know. But they said that she got her money, but she had to stop putting the butter on the tracks. Other than that, and then one time, we found a bomb, a big World War II bomb, on the bottom of the beach up at Kavanaugh Grade up here. So we went down and looked at it, and we said, well, we'll see if it's good. So we went at the top of the bluff, laid on the side of the road up there where you could look overboard, and there was no traffic in them days. We took our rifle, and we shot that son of a gun and thing. But it was a practice bomb that the Navy or the Army had used someplace, and it floated in there. It was laying on the beach. And that bomb is still around the town here someplace, but I don't know where it is. But that was, if that had been a live one, there'd have been some awful scared kids up on top of that hill, because I don't know what that would have done to us. This is John Ross V, and there's John Ross VI, and this is my granddaughter. Oh, this is Allison, no. And then it's my brother Donald right here, and my sister Tootie back over there, and my nephew Marty here, and half the other people I know too. So anyhow, my great-grandfather came here in 1869. He was a Baptist minister, and he was from out of Canada, by Ottawa, Clarence, and I forget the other little town. But anyhow, when he was there, they gave him a choice of coming to Casper or China. And I'm sort of glad he came here. Probably I'm really glad. There in Casper, somebody's big bull was out roaming the streets up them down them alleys. I guess that's another way they did. Just like this street, this alley here, things roamed up and down it too. But anyhow, he was there doing that. And somebody says, "Oh, Mr. Ralston, that big bull's out here," and it broke down the fence and got in there where he was, because they had some cows that were in pretty good shape, and this is the Ming Henry bull. Well, and the lady cows. So anyhow, that old bull got in there, and it tried to run him down, and he just sidestepped it. And about the third time he sidestepped, he grabbed it by the horns. He threw it, cracked his head around so far it broke part of the neck. You could hear all the bones snapping. So anyhow, that bull got up back off the ground. Then they said the rest of that bull's life, it walked around Casper with a crooked neck, and it saw Mr. Ralston on the street down there, went the other way. These are stories that, and they said the old man was about 75 when he was doing this. He was over 70, but I couldn't do that. Boy, I'll tell you, he must have been a strong old bugger. And when he was in there in Greenwood, and I've told Prue this story too, I don't know how many people have seen the pictures of the old Greenwood Wharf that went out from behind town and down there. But one night, they loaded ships down there all night long.
And so they had old Archie Brandstrom, and his sister taught school here, Ellen Brandstrom, taught school here in Mendocino and a few other places. Great basketball player. I think she won the title for best basketball player here in Mendocino one year and won something. But some of the basketball games they only scored 6 points, and that was a winner. But anyhow, one night down there they were loading one of them lumber ships, and it was dark as a. And so anyhow, old Archie, her brother, fell off the wharf. It was about 40 foot to the water. Oh my God, they says, he's dead. You know, and so they got looking around, and he was bald-headed, sort of like your head, like that. They saw the moon shining on his head in the water. They were able to save him. So if you ever fall in the water now, they can probably save moonlight. They can probably save you. When Donald was just a little kid, we were living in the old cookhouse there, and what we did one day with him, we shoved the baby buggy was up. He was in. We shoved it up against the stove, so it caught on fire.
Oh.
So
What trying to do, get rid of you?
So and then my father when he was there, and so we were like I said, we're living in the cookhouse, and he wasn't too excited about making wood. He'd have somebody do that. So they had picket fences around there. So what do? He'd go there and pick it up and put it in the stove, and they had a chair. You have chairs like these. You just prop it up, and that way you left the door of the stove open. You just shove that piece of wood in there. And that worked pretty good. And I think that's when we were decided to burn Dumpy up. But anyhow, Warren Daniels come up there one day, and Donald can tell you about this. He was parked out there in front of one of our houses where we lived, and we found this nice little box in his pickup, and it seemed to me there must have been dynamite caps in it because it got my fingers. But luckily we only took one cap out of that box and lit it. So it blew my fingers off, and it took one of my other brother's eye out, and it made Donald run a little bit. So anyhow, so that was okay. It kept me from having to go to Korea and pull on the green chain and dig ditches. But so that was a good thing. But I remember then up there.
It's all relative.
Yeah, it was. Then they had the big donkey engine sitting there across from by the mill pond. There was a great big pond up there where they floated logs around like they used to do in the old mills. And so one day there was about 6 or 8 of us kids. We lived on that 500 row, the first row of houses where you go in. In fact, I went in there here a while back. Not to change the story, I'll get back in a minute. But I was going in there, and here's this lady in there on the street and her husband. I says, "Did you see my fingers any place in here?" But the poor old guy didn't know what I was talking about. So I explained to his wife what I said. And she said, "Oh, I never saw him before in my life." But anyhow, so it was okay. But I remember one day we were up there and we were blowing stumps during noontime. And so they forgot to tell the ladies that lived there, and we had a bunch of houses for the ladies and the kids that lived in mill workers. And so they forgot to tell them that we're going to blow a big stump there right by the end of the mill. So here we blew that stump. We used black powder in them days. And it sent them big chunks of that big redwood all over them houses. Them ladies didn't know what happened because I was just, crashing down, and it didn't hurt anybody, but they were not too happy. Some from Fort Bragg. We had one guy out there, I forget what his name was, but he worked there, but he had lost a leg someplace during his lifetime. So he was working there for what job he had, and he would drink quite a bit at night. Everybody did. And he was carving with his knife all the time, and he stabbed his leg, and he used to stab it in his cork leg. This day he made a mistake. So anyhow, so that's about all I can tell you about different things. It was a good life in the logging in the old days, and I did it up until this year. So I started in 1946, and so this last year I quit, retired out when they shut us down so heavy. So I said, well, I'll just stay home now. Let them kids that need to work go to work. So that's about all I can tell you. And if you want to ask me anything, I might be able to tell you.